sax player Kenny G. The other, a Grammy-nominated singer Michael Bolton.
Ma, thank you for tuning in. You know, I think of two things when I hear that song. I think of my mom because she loved saxophone playing, and I remember when she bought a new car one time, she had that CD, or it was either on a tape that she wanted to listen to while we drove around. But there's a sad segment to that song, and that is, how am I supposed to live without you? You know that some people actually commit suicide when that other person leaves them and walks out of their life. And they sit there stunned, wondering, how could you do that? Because if you felt even one third of the way for me like I feel for you, there's no way you would even entertain the thought of leaving me. And when that person leaves them, they just can't handle it. I knew a man, and he had one of the best businesses on the Gulf Coast. And when his wife died, I watched him walk the streets, and he shut his business down, and he was in so much grief, you was afraid to approach him. Because even though you carried many conversations on with him before, he was so nice and personable, but you saw such a deep amount of grief upon him, the way he just walked around with his head hanging like a little boy that had just been spanked but didn't want to show the tears. And I saw him walking around like that, and there was a part of me that wanted to go talk to him and comfort him, but he was in too much grief. I knew that no matter what I said, it wouldn't help him. But anyway, I really like that song. But yeah, how am I supposed to live without you? Well, a lot of people nowadays, they're glad to see that other person go. I think it's healthy to come to the resolve that if that person don't want nothing to do with you, let them go. Don't run after somebody that don't want nothing to do with you. But but you know what? People hang on because they, especially the younger folks, they figure, well, I'm using them for sex, and I'll just let them, even if they don't want nothing to do with me, if I could just get together with them and have that need met, uh, you know, yeah, they're going to be running around with everybody else in town, and they're the only ones I want to run with, but that's all right. I'll just keep hanging on, and it runs that person crazy, and it's foolish to hang on. Please don't hang on to nobody. If they don't want nothing to do with you, bid them good on. That way you can get on with your life. You can get on with your life. Okay, hopefully, let me kind of zip it and get on to playing some music. Let's see. Oh my, it's almost 4 in the morning. I'm just getting started. When you're retired and stuff and you don't have to get up at a certain time or do this at a certain time, your hours are going to be kind of swung crazy. But Kenny G and Michael Bolton, boy, that was some kind of song. Gregory Porter, he's honoring the group Sting in 2017 over in Germany, and he's singing one of their songs. I like the way he sings their song.
Cold, the stars look down.
Boy, he can
Hug
sing.
yourself on the cold, cold ground.
Listen how rich
You
the
wake
voice
the
is.
morning in a strangest cold. No one would just see. You ask yourself, what's for me, my only friend? It's hard to say, hate to say it, it's probably me. Your belly is empty, hunger's so deep, too proud to bear.
Okay, Sandra 50M, thank you for tuning in. There, Afar Edits. Hello, thank y'all for tuning in. blow over. And let it sit down a moment. I'll be back with it in just a moment. I gotta take a goodie.
Some with this and some with that. If you ain't got no struggle,
It's a goodie.
I can tell you just where you're at.
I've been passing a kidney stone.
In the town or in the city, you might be rich, you might be poor.
Yeah, I've been passing a kidney stone.
In the town or in the city,
Feels like glass coming out
no
of you.
matter if you're rich or if you're poor. Where you been, where you going? Yes, it's just one open, closing door.
Oh.
Struggle.
Woo. Living is to struggle. He's from Jerusalem. His name is Laser Lloyd. He's a blues player. In Israel, he is a Jewish blues guitarist. And as you hear him, he sounds good. Oh. Oh boy, that thing tastes bad. That song just cuts off, just like that. Instead of feathering itself out, it just chops off. But it's still a nice song. This one here has 133 million views. Daniel Castro, I'll Play the Blues for You, is the title of it. I gotta wash this goodie down. It's aspirin and Tylenol mixed together with caffeine. I don't want it to get on the guitar. Ooh, that taste is still in my mouth.
If you're down and out and you hurt real good,
Most people are.
come on over to the I'll try to
Folks, bear with me just for a moment here. I spilled a little root beer. Boy, I had to take a goodie. All it is aspirin, Tylenol, and it's got some caffeine mixed with it, but it does help. It really does help. I know it sounds kind of uncouth and corny. The name, Goodies, sounds like something that you buy at Goober's service station up in Mayberry, but that's what they call it, Goodies. I don't know if people overseas are looking at that, what they think about that. I know it sounds kind of corny, but actually they do kind of work. Now, some people swear by BC. I've never taken a BC, and that was an orange flavored one. If you ever take a goodie without it being flavored some kind of way, well, you wouldn't even be able to stand it. I mean, they're almost an untouchable medicine if you have to take it without it being flavored. They just came up with this flavored stuff here a few years ago. But if you ever have to take a goodie and you can't get the flavored ones and you got to buy one of the old ones, when you put that stuff in your mouth, you better have some cold ice cream or something to take afterwards just to get the taste out of your mouth. Once again, I always like to stop just a moment and thank you all for tuning in, because some of you are the same ones that tune in night after night. The other night, we got 1,600 people that came by and visited. 1,600. I'm not a monetized channel, so I don't ask you to subscribe for that reason, because it's not going to do anything for me monetarily wise or anything. But if you want to know when I do come on live, even if you're talking on the phone, it'll flash up at the top of your phone. Joseph Kingston is on live on YouTube. It lets you know whenever you subscribe to anybody, it lets you know when they put up a new video or when they're on live. And that's only, of course, you'd only want to do that only if you're one that is actually enjoying some of the music. Okay, now here's one by Katie Webster. I usually play this one every night, this one. And the next one, if I can get to it quick enough, because when one song finishes, if I don't get to that phone fast enough, it just goes to where it wants to go next. Within that, all that bunch of songs I've got saved on here, which is close to 500, if not more. But after this song by Katie Webster, I hope to go to one called, let's see, She's Everything to Me. Not that, I know there's one by Brad Paisley like that, but this one's by Walter Wolfman Washington. And I like even the one by Brad Paisley. Okay, here we go, folks. This reminds me of an old saloon with the guy playing the piano in the corner. I don't know if y'all remember Jelly Roll from way back in the 30s, I believe. When I hear this song, I kind of think of him. Most of you are not that old. got to it in time to go to the next one I wanted to. My eyes get dry. I might have to stop every now and then and lubricate my eyes. I've got some eye drops right here on the table. I tell you, my stomach feels so upset. I might have to take a Protonics. That's what they give you in the United States when you go to the emergency room. A Protonics, it's a antacid. I don't usually suffer too much from an upset stomach, but boy, I'm just not. My stomach feels messed up a little bit tonight. Let me take a swallow of this root beer again, if you don't mind. I'll be right back with you. I'm gonna stay right here. Maybe this will help settle my stomach some. Oh. That A&W root beer is some of the best. We grew up on Barks root beer. They sold that company a few years ago to Coca-Cola, I believe. And they still manufacture that root beer under the name of Barks. B-A-R-Q-S. But that A&W root beer, they age it in barrels. And it's really good. Boy, I don't know what's going on. Goodies have never made me feel sick or bad. All of a sudden, I'm feeling so weak. guy, I had never heard this song before, and a person contacted me right there on the screen about a week ago and wanted me to play this song for him. Okay, DPR Sessions, what's up? Thank you. Elizabeth Davis said, hi. Oh, thank you so much. UTRO, much love. Thank you so much. HOJA, Hoja. Hey, I like that, Hoja. You know, I got a pet, and the name of my pet is Chucky. CHEWKY. I don't know, it just came to me one day, and I decided to call him Chucky. He just showed up. I was in the woods, living in my van at the time in the woods, and he showed up, and I had a rat problem, and boy, God used him to really take care of it. So when I left the woods and moved to where I'm at now, I brought him with me. So he hangs out there. He lets me know he'll bang on that window probably when he's ready to come in. But I don't like for him to be in here when I'm playing because it's too loud for his ears, I believe. But anyway, somebody just the other day told me about this song. I like it. Prisoner of the Highway by Ronnie Millsap.
To the interstate.
Oh, yes. Okay. Let's see. Here comes a country song right here. A love country song. It's a love country song.
I love you too, baby. Yeah.
Going from country to Led Zeppelin. I try to play a little bit of everything, some rock, some country, some blues, some jazz.
Baby, I'm gonna leave you. I said, baby, you know I'm gonna leave you.
much as I like that song, I could hardly wait for it to finish because that goodie I took a while ago is so nasty and bitter still in my mouth. I've got to get me a piece of candy and put in my mouth. I just got to turn around. There's the refrigerator. I'll be right back with you. Let me get a piece of candy. Oh, let me tell you, I'm actually getting a headache from tasting that goodie, and it's supposed to kill a headache. Boy, that was a nasty tasting thing. Yeah, it's actually supposed to kill a headache. A goodie is supposed to kill a headache, and I'm telling you, boy, I don't know. Normally I can take the orange ones. I'm going to have to take me a Reese Buttercup. I'm advertising for Reese here. Good old Reese Buttercup. Let me get one other thing. Be right back. Oh, my, that thing. Boy, did that thing ever taste bad. I mean, that thing tastes so bad. Oh, let me tell you, that goodie had tasted so bad. And I don't know what it is, because normally the orange flavored ones, I can stomach them somewhat. But, oh, Mom, I'm feeling so bad from it. That thing tasted horrible. I mean, you know what? I think I'm even going to take a Protonics. I hate to look like a medicine cabinet from the phone here, but, and I don't even know if I've got it in here. Don't even know if I've got it. It's my vitamins. A Protonics is what they give you as an antacid. If you're in the United States, and if you've got an emergency messed up stomach, and you go to the emergency room, Protonics is what they give you. Usually in a shot, but you can take it in tablet form too. I don't know what it is here, but boy, ever since I took that goodie, I don't know if it's a contaminate. You know, years ago, a guy that worked for the Tylenol people, he was contaminating. He got fired, and he went to store after store and was contaminating the Tylenol tablets, and people were dying from it. And let me see if I've got it, this other department of this bag. If I go riding on my bicycle, that's what I usually do. Oh, here it is. No, that ain't it. I don't think it is. Let's see. No. I'm going to have to put my Protonics. I've got it in my other bag. Well, I don't want to leave you that long to go way to the other end to get a Protonics unless it gets a whole lot worse. The Protonics is what the emergency room will give you if you've got a messed up stomach here in the United States of America. Just think you didn't know I'd feed you with a little medical knowledge. You came here for music, not medical knowledge. As you get older, you're going to learn some things. If you have to go back and forth to the doctor or the hospital at times, you'll end up sounding like a medicine cabinet before long. I don't wish it upon anybody. Nobody invites any kind of sickness upon them, and I'm not complaining, because when I see what other people have to deal with, when that 16-year-old cousin of mine was paralyzed from his neck on down, I thought, boy, I agree with my youngest sister who used to tell me, your health is your wealth, and that is the truth. You can have all the money in the world, and if you don't have health to go along with it, even King Solomon in Ecclesiastes said the same thing. He said, there's an evil disease I have seen under the sun, and that And he said, it's those that have riches, but not the power to eat thereof. What he meant by that. And he called it an evil disease, that people can have all the money in the world. Hey, from Poland, all right. Okay. And I do play, it says USA and Palestine. I do play Palestine music too. In fact, since while you're here, if you'll bear with me, I've got a hit from song from that area that's in your language and everything, and I will play it here in just a moment. Instead of going to the next song I had, I'll play that for you if you'll just bear with me. Let me take this. Yeah, when your stomach gets messed up, they give you protonics. It's not a narcotic. It's not a narcotic. Please don't anybody point a finger at me. I had a neighbor one time, and because I went out to cut grass, and because I had long sleeves on, he called me over to the fence and he thought I was shooting up. I thought, man, get your mind out the gutter. I rolled up my sleeves. I said, I just like long sleeves. I just like long sleeves. I don't like to wear shorts. I don't condemn those who do. I like for people to tell me where they're from. Let me give them a song in their own language. I hope it's in their language. It's a Persian type song, but it was a hit song. The people of Gaza and the people of Iran. I've got songs for people in Israel. Let me pull it up real quick. I have it here towards the top. I got Russian hits music and I was shocked. I didn't know that they had concerts like we have in the United States overseas. And when I found some of their music, oh my, it just blew me away. This is about 8 guitarists on a stage over there. Mohsen Yagani, if I'm pronouncing it correctly, 255 million views. Boy, I tell you, if he had a monetized channel, I think you get $100 for every million hits. People that get 70 million hits, that's $7,000 you get from YouTube, if I figured it correctly. I'm not a monetized channel. If I was, I wouldn't be able to play copyright music. But this guy, he had 255 million views. Oh my, boy, did he ever make, boy, that group made some big time money off this if he was monetized at the time. Okay, to Poland. God bless you.
خاطری خاطرشی آن باتونی سوزه تفاقری
we see them warring over there, and we see people wearing turbans on their head and everything, and we see these people dressed different from us and all that. We just don't picture them as going to concerts and enjoying music, just like that Laser Lloyd, that one guy, he said, it sounds like Tel Aviv is being bombed. In a way, it kind of did sound like a war song in a way, Now, their music, like I said, their music overseas, it is different from ours. Their rhythm is different. Their picking is different. It has an oriental sound to it, like, let's see here. Yeah, I knew I'd be getting people from different areas, Poland hit songs, from different parts of the world that would be coming on here. And Polish hit songs 2024. They don't have any listed for 2025, just 2024. And I'll give you one more, okay? One more from Poland, if I can play it, if I can. And if it's something that really sounds good, I'll save it on the phone, and that way I'll have it next time. One guy gave me one from Russia. One guy gave me one from Russia here nights ago, and boy, it really sounded good. Okay, let's see. I'd like to kind of get a slow one. That one did sound like something was being bombed. It sounded like Tel Aviv was being bombed. That's what he said. Yeah, boy, the way it was going along fast, like you picture the planes traveling and everybody's running with the machine gun, and yeah, I can see where he can envision that. Look, you'd be surprised. Sometimes you're playing music. Musicians sometimes will be playing music, and you'd be shocked. That's why I got to close my eyes too when I play. If you've noticed, you've never seen me play one song, not even one, where I might open my eyes just once in a while if I think I hear somebody knocking or something, or if I hear the pet knocking on the window wanting to come in. But normally I keep my eyes closed. I've got to shut everything out. And even with doing that, sometimes I'm thinking things that don't even pertain to the music. Sometimes crazy thoughts will come to your mind. And sometimes this music will bring my mind back to something that happened when I was a kid. And so I've got to shut the world out when I'm playing. So that's why I close my eyes. Let me get one more Polish song. Ooh, I can't play that one, I don't believe. You know what? I see even they are going to rap music, it looks like. It's like the rap sound, rap music is going all over the world. Now, we don't understand the words, but still I can enjoy the music. I see it's got the word disco up there. I'd like to find a slow one. I sure would like to find a slow Polish song. Let me type that in. Slow Polish hit songs. One that's just a little slow. Slower, that don't sound like we're going to war here. Polish hit songs 2024. Let me put slow. It's amazing. The rap music is... I noticed the Pakistan music. I've got some Pakistan music. It was beautiful music, and some of it, it's like the rap music has covered every nation in the world. Okay, slow Polish hit songs of 2024. Let me see if I can pull up one a little slower. Slow. Okay. Then we'll go back to the American. We'll go back to America's music after that. Best Polish Music 2024 top songs. Well, I can't even read it because it's in their language. Well, I'll tell you what. I'll go from song to song till I can find one that's slow. Here's one that's got 50 videos of Polish music. I'll just fast forward it till I find a slow one here. Let's see what's going on here.
Miałem dziś sen, nie było ciebie, za to był ślub. Było wesele z jedną z tych pań, co ledwo imię znam. Miałem też sen z tobą na czele.
You hear the rhythm and tempo. Their music is so different than ours. Whenever you play foreign music, it's a whole lot different. But still, a lot of it sounds good. Well, you know, I like that, and there's 50. Well, you know what? Let me save that one song. That way, if somebody from Poland. Okay, I'm saving now. See, if anybody from Poland visits us again, I've got one saved. But I like the way he said that. He said, okay, he goes on. He's educating us, and I'm glad of that. He said that was disco polo, music with a simple message for simple people. They sang about women, parties, and vodka. Okay. All right, man. Thanks a lot. I really appreciate that. You know, we should never be so proud and arrogant to where we think that we're better, to where we can't learn from other people something. You know, the Bible's got a verse in it that says, "Seest thou a man wise in his own conceit? There's more hope of a fool than for that man." What that means is, when you become conceited, that means you think that you know it all, and you don't want nobody to try to teach you anything, because you've already think that you are perfect in knowledge. And when you become so conceited and stuck up, and you shun everybody because you think that you know it all and there's nothing else nobody can teach you, the Bible says there's more hope for a fool than for that type of person. So, you see, hey, if anybody's got some knowledge to throw my way, I'm glad of it. But one thing about music, you know, music, you'll always have A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And with those, you'll have major chords, minor chords, 7+5 chords. I've got a chart right behind me here on this refrigerator. And that chart you see has what's called the circle of fifths. It's got all the chords on it. And no matter what language you play music in, you're either going to be playing rhythm, like you're going to be playing chords, 7th chords, 9th chords, major chords, minor chords. You're going to be playing if you're playing rhythm, you're playing chords, and if you uh, pick, you'll play in different octaves, but you're not going to go beyond uh, a G. You every time I play a note in a fret, it's going to be the A B C D E F G, and so once you learn any instrument, uh, music has its own language contained in its own box, as far as the way we know music and the way it's constructed within chords and within picking. Now on a piano, it's going to be different fingerings, but still, you're going to have A, B, C, D, E, F, G. You're going to have your major chords, minor chords, seven plus fifths. You're going to have all that on whether it's a piano, whether it's a guitar, or whether it's a flute, whether it's a clarinet. So music is going to be similar in that respect, no matter what part of the country you go in whatsoever. But here's where it's going to differ. Every music's got its own particular sound of that culture of people is going to like, that they're going to cling to. Like if you play gypsy jazz, they've got their favorite songs in gypsy jazz that they play. And their music, every time I play gypsy jazz, I think of the gypsies in Romania. I think of those old Frankenstein movies too, where they'd show Romania and Transylvania and the old castles up in the mountain and the gypsies and stuff. And in America, a lot of white people play blues now, but it basically started, I think, with black people. And England, a lot of the guitarists over there eulogized the black people that came up and started playing blues. And a lot of them come over here and wanted to learn the blues. In fact, the Beatles, when they first came to America, they stayed with Little Richard. A lot of people don't know that. He was that black guy that played the piano with the long hair and everything. And then different people in different nations start liking different music, and every nation and every country has its own sound and its own type of style. That's what I'm looking for, its own style of music. In America, if you go in the country, if you go to Mexico, there's going to be a lot of country music. Country people like country music. People that's had hard times in life, they like blues. Some of them like it all. I pretty well like all music. The only music I don't try to play usually is heavy metal and punk music. Heavy metal and punk, like AC/DC. I'm not against you if you liked it. That's fine, but it's just not me. I'd actually have to have a distortion box and a delay pedal if I want to try to play some of it. It wouldn't sound right if I tried to play it with my setup here. Nice that you know where the countries are. Americans think that Europe is a country. What do you think about the German Rammstein? Well, I wish I could follow you there, but I don't even know. I'm lost with that terminology. I don't know what about the German Rammstein. I don't know what that means. Most of us in America wouldn't know what it means, but anyway, I never did want to be selfish with music. When I come on here, I wanted to try to accommodate everybody, and I knew people from all over the world. I knew people all over the world would be tuning in, and I didn't want to make them have to suffer through listening to something that just we like here in America. I try to balance it off. That's why every time I come on live, I try to play some country, some rock, some blues, and sometimes I'll play mostly blues in the beginning, and it ends with country, and sometimes vice versa. But sometimes I like just switch around, play a country song, play a rock song, play a blues song. And because if you keep playing this kind of music that if I keep playing what I like more, there's going to be a lot of people tune in and they're not going to like that. And they're just going to, turn it to something else. I do have two other channels. One guy says, "Hello, I am 25-year-old guy. What advice could you give?" Well, I don't know what type of advice that you're seeking. There's marital advice, there's music advice if you want to play in a band, or if you, there's different, there's monetary advice, Bitcoin, or in other words, financial advice. There's estate planning, where we've got lawyers in the United States that if you go to their meetings, they'll tell you how to set up your estate with a will and trust and such. And knowledge is so vast. So I need you to ask me that in a more precise way. Like, what advice would you give me concerning, and then tell me what field. Not that I don't know it all. Nobody does. But if I had any wisdom or knowledge, understanding in anything you ask me more precisely, if I know anything in that area or field of knowledge, it's fruit flies. I've got fruit flies in here. That's when you see my hands do that. I got fruit flies, and believe me, I'm doing everything to get rid of them. But anyway, I know there's some people that get impatient with me when I get to talking too much. I've seen them come on there and say, "Please, just keep playing," and I can understand that. So let me go ahead and give you some more music here. Yeah, I was kind of shocked though. Once I started going into foreign music, let me get back to American music here. Once I started going into foreign music, I was shocked to see that they do the rap music, that they've got the discos, no different than the United States. I just pictured Israel to be nothing but religious music. I figured Iran would be nothing but religious music, and believe me, it's not that way at all. I played earlier "Living Is to Struggle." That was by Laser Lloyd, and he had long hair and a hat on, and he's in Jerusalem. He lives there in Jerusalem. Just because we see the Orthodox Jews over there, it doesn't mean everybody's an Orthodox Jew over there. They've got their blues clubs, their rock and roll clubs and everything. I've come to find out it's like that all over the world. No matter what language you're dealing with, you're going to have the party life going on. You're going to have the religious life going on. You're going to have people from all walks of life. And I always say, as far as giving any, it's really to each his own. We don't all like the same food. We don't all like the same music. So, and I've always been told you'll never please all the people all the time, but be thankful if you could please some of the people some of the time. So the only way I can please some of the people some of the time is just switch around. And if somebody says, "Hey, can you play me a Russian song?" And that guy gave me a Russian song here nights ago, and boy, it was a real good one. In fact, the name of it was Brainstorm Nazar, Nazare. It had 17 million views, and it's a young boy up on a stage. Well, he looks to be about 30. To me, that's really young. And but even though I can't understand the words, their music is still, they got good music just like we got good music. Music that you can sit back and ride and relax or enjoy. And yeah, I enjoy the music even if I can't understand what they're singing. I could still enjoy the music part of it. Okay. Now these next few songs, if I get to play them, these were classics of classics. Whenever you hear the name Stevie Wonder, he was a blonde black musician. He came up with hit after hit. And every one of his has millions of views. But this next one here is by Roberta Flack. She was a black lady, African American. She had 46 million views on this one song. It was put up 10 years ago, and it's called Killing Me Softly. It's a real relaxing song, just real easy going, very relaxing.
Strumming my pain with his fingers, singing my life with his words, killing me softly with his song, killing me softly with his song, telling my whole life with his words, killing me softly with his
was still kind of laughing with him when he said it sounded like we were going to war. Stevie Wonder. Oh, here's another one by him.
No New Year's Day to celebrate.
158 million views, that song.
Oh, misty eye of the mountain below, keep careful watch of my brother's soul. And should this sky fill with fire and smoke, keep watching over Kingston.
ends with that. I went beyond that because another one that I play that he sings that same song, it don't end like that. It ends with a little bit more to it. So I realize now I didn't load that one up. I loaded another one. But anyway, I like it. It's by the original singer. Okay, let's see here. What's next? I am so thankful that there is such a thing as music. Because I'll tell you, you could be in a bad mood and you can play the right song and it's like it just chases the bad feeling away and everything. Now, I realize there's some music that'll get you melancholy and will actually get you depressed because it'll make you think of something that happened way back when. It'll make you think of that girl that you broke up with. It was a bad breakup and that was your song with that girl. There are songs that every now and then I'll hear a song, and I remember I was welding and I was on a night shift. Now, I've been retired for over 20 years, but I was in Tennessee, Jasper, Tennessee, and I had the night shift and I was welding all through the night. And I'd be welding and this one song would come on and it would remind me of my ex-wife at the time. And the title of that song was Turn the Page. I don't even remember the name of the guy now that sings it, but every time I'd hear that song, I remember I used to throw my helmet up and I'd lean against that great big old steel thing I was welding. And I'd just be looking around the plant and I'd be having my MIG welder in my hand. I'd just be looking around and I would listen to that song because people would have their stereos going on throughout the plant all night long playing loud music. And it would just make me drift back to the past. And I would start kind of feeling bad and melancholy because, it just didn't end well. Well, it ended really well for me now that I look back. It really did. It ended well for both of us, really. But, you just kind of hate, sometimes you just kind of don't feel too good that your marriage didn't make it. But looking back and seeing how everything fell into place after that, it was really one of the best things that could have happened. It really was. I've been single most of my life, and I'm very introverted. That means I don't like to go around out in public. My neighbors that live around me here, they could probably tell you we hardly ever see that guy come out the house. My youngest sister now, if she comes and picks me up and wants to go somewhere, yeah, I might go somewhere with her. But other than that, I mean, I'm just behind closed doors most of the time, and I just don't maybe go to a church service. But other than that, I might go out and eat, and then I want the seat that's far away from people. I don't like to be around people while I'm eating, or them too close to me. And I've just always been that way, even from a teenage boy. If people would come over to visit me, I'd lock myself up in the room, and I knew they were there. And they'd slide a note under the door because they knew I was there, but my mom wasn't going to come get me and make me come out if I didn't want to. But I've always been that way ever since I was a young kid. I like what would be a stress and a strain to other people if everybody's house blew down, and if I had to go live out in the woods and cook over a fire, which I've done before, and warm up water and take my showers out in the wilderness, which I've done before. I could say by the grace of God only I'd enjoy that life as much as I would living in a mansion. Even in the cold of wintertime, I like being close to nature like that and away from everybody. I've just always been that way. They call that being introverted. Now, an extroverted person is a person that can't stand being where it's still, where it's quiet. They want the noise. They want to go all out. They want to be around the crowd and everything. And let me just prove this point before I go on with the music. Many years ago, I'd been to 3 junior colleges. When I seen that being a doctor wasn't my calling, I decided to go into vocational training. So I thought, I had a friend that worked offshore, and I was working offshore, and he said, look, the welders out here are making a lot of money. And this was over 50 years ago. It was nothing to make 1,000 or more a week working offshore. So he said, look, they're giving free welding classes out at Pearl River Junior College at Stennisfield. And he said, why don't we go? It's free. And so I went there. I took up welding. Then I went up to the main college. I took up welding. Then I went on a welding job out in Arizona, and I saw a piece of pipe laying on the ground with a flange welded to it. And I thought, I should have stayed with it long enough to get certified on pipe because they make the most money. I went back to junior college, another junior college, and I stayed almost a year and got certified to go offshore. And I'm so forgetful. I'm trying to remember now where I'm going with this. I went offshore and I got hurt. I was only out there probably about a year. And during that year, I had been with 5 different major oil companies because when you go offshore, you go through marine contractors. Oil companies only hire people as permanent employees in the offshore industry just for certain jobs, like a driller or a gauge reader or something like that, and they'll train you for that. But all their electrician work, all their construction work on those offshore platforms, all their maintenance work, they subcontract that out. That way they don't have to pay workman's comp, they don't have to cover you with insurance and nothing like that. Your marine contractor's going to do that when they send you out, but you still got to be certified with a B31.3 certification before a marine contractor will hire you and send you out there. But I remember, here's where I was going with it. When I slipped and fell and hurt my back, offshore they won't let you go back out once you've been hurt, especially a back injury. So I was blessed with a job working for the highway department as a bridge tender, where you're sitting down in this little bitty building all day for 8 hours a day, and all the cars are going by, and you got your door closed, and you're just looking out over the sea. And if a vessel comes in, they call you on the marine radio and they say, look, we want to come through. Then you got to let down the things and stop the traffic, and then you got to raise the bridge up. And that was a real good job for an introverted person like me, because I was out there by myself. I was able to bring a bunch of books every day and read and study, and I was actually being paid. And plus I had 2 medical insurances covering me out there. Oh, it was a wonderful job. Somebody had just hurt their back offshore, and they wasn't going to let go out there to weld anymore. So I remember some people broke down in a boat one day, and we had a pier at the base of the bridge where boats could come up and tie up. And when they came up on top of the bridge where the traffic was, they knocked on the door, and I left them in. They said, we need to use your phone to call for help. We ran out of fuel or something like that. And I remember one of the guys looked around, and he saw my box of books, and he saw my chair, and he saw all those controls to open up the bridge, and he saw how quiet it was. And I remember he made the statement, man, this is enough to run you crazy out here. And I thought to myself, as soon as he said that, I knew who he was. He didn't know me personally, but I knew him, and I knew his parents owned a store in a certain part of the state, and I knew this guy was a partier. He liked to drink a lot, and he would fight. And I thought to myself when he said that, I thought, oh no, this is heaven on earth for me. I didn't tell him that, but I thought, what would be hell on earth for you is heaven on earth for me. I like being out here by myself with no other employee to have to work around. That way, if I want to read and study, or if I want to knit a cast net, which I never did while I was out there. I waited till I took another office job 5 years later, but I stayed out there for about 5 years, and I was blessed with a radio ministry at the time, and I left that job, and I worked from home for about 2 years, and then I took a job. It was an office job again, doing security work, because I didn't return to welding. I was going to return to welding again, but later on in years, before retirement. And so, but those jobs that I would get, that where I'd be by myself and had my own little office where I could do what I wanted to do and kick back and read and stuff, that was heaven on earth for me. But that's not for everybody, and it's not meant to be for everybody. We're not meant to all be the same. It's not meant for us all to like the same kind of music or to play the same kind of instrument. And it's meant for some people to marry and have kids. For some people it ain't. I went to the store yesterday, and every time I get in line, if there's anybody that's got ornery kids, they're not making their kids, and I heard 3 kids just a cutting a buck going up and down the aisle. That's an old saying, cutting the buck. In other words, they're ornery, they're swinging from the chandeliers, they're making noise. Well, when they got up there by the register, I said, you can go ahead in front of me. Because I knew if I had those 3 kids behind me, just the noise and the racket, I wouldn't be able to handle it. And so I let them go ahead of me. And when I got to the register, I told them, I said, look, whenever there's kids like that, and the woman wasn't making the kids mind, and one kid pulled down a whole bunch of balloons that were already blowed up, and they all hit the floor. Oh, look, it was a mess. When I see these young girls, they shouldn't even be having kids in the first place because they're still a kid. And then they are tied down with 3 kids, and it's putting the cart before the horse, unless you know that's for you. If you know that's what you want, you might want that kind of life where you are just wanting to raise kids, and that you felt like that's what you was put here on earth for, is just to have kids and raise them. But it wasn't meant for us all to be the same. It just wasn't. And so when I say I'm an introverted person, I mean, I really am. I don't like to be around crowds, and I like the peace and quiet. To where if I want to read a book or something, I don't have all that distraction. And look, I am so introverted that when I lived about a football field away from my parents, my mother used to tell me, your dad's worried about you. He says that you're going to go crazy back there in that house. Well, I was blessed with a home fully paid for like 23 years of my life. No rent or anything. That house was fully paid for when I moved in it. And that was a blessing from God, and I give him all the praise for it. But, boy, when I moved into that house, let me tell you, other than getting out and cutting the grass and going to work and coming home, that was it. And I enjoyed that type of life. But my dad thought I was going to go crazy because I was just locked away from society. It's just not me to blend with people hardly. It's just not. I like talking to you all. I like knowing that I can have an audience, but I don't know if I'd feel that way if you were sitting around me here. Unless you had a guitar in your hand and we were playing together, that might be different. But it's not meant for us all to be that way. It is meant for some people to be extroverted. That means outgoing and things. But you know, there's a Bible verse that God knew he was going to make me this way, because when I was a very young boy, I think I was 18 years old, and my mother had brought me a King James Version Bible, and I read in the book of Proverbs this scripture, and it stuck with me all my life. It said, through desire, a man, having separated himself, seeketh and intermeddleth with all wisdom and knowledge and understanding. And I thought about that scripture and I thought, you know, it's just like going to college to be a doctor. You got to put all the partying behind you. That's why when it comes to academic education, they call it the disciplines. Have you ever heard education fields? They call it the disciplines, because you have to be disciplined enough to put the partying aside, to remain sober, And because you know that for like 12 years of your life to be a doctor, you're going to have to read books. You're going to have, when I was a pre-med student, 18 semester hours a semester, I remember just my zoology book was like that thick. And I would sit on the floor with my back against the bed and read. And I used to wonder how some of the girls that was in my class, how they were making passing grades, because they had to do waitress work at night after school was over with. They had to go work at the Waffle House. And I thought, how are you going to study all this and know it and still make a decent grade? Because really, just like that scripture in the Bible says, it says, through desire, a man having separated himself. Because when you want to seek an academic education, you've got to separate yourself. You got to get away from the crowds, because it's going to take reading and studying and acquiring knowledge. And you can't do that when everybody's partying around you. That's why it's hard to live in a college dorm, because there you are, you might be a serious student wanting to learn something to get on with your life and make a decent living. And they're all making noise, wrestling in the dorm and making noise. And, I just don't know how they can get on with their education. How you doing, Pravindra Dynawat? Hello, thank you so much for tuning in. I don't know how they could do it. So that scripture stuck with me all my life. Through desire, a man having separated himself, seeketh and intermeddleth with all wisdom and knowledge and understanding. And you see all those years that I worked out there as a bridge tender, that was a job where I was by myself. I wanted to learn shorthand, and that gave me 5 years to bring. I used to bring a box of books out there, a box of books. And I never did fish, not even one time. The other bridge tenders, they used to throw fish and set crab traps. And I never did do that. But I knew that to learn shorthand, which is the fastest way in the world to write, that's the way court reporters used to take down everything, through shorthand. And on my other channel of Moses, Moses, E-S-E-S-E-S-E-S, I had to put all them ES's on it, because other people had Moses, Moses, and I had to keep adding all that. But I teach a full course of shorthand on that channel. But I was blessed not to ever have to go to school or college to learn it, because I had a job that separated me from other people, from other employees, because that was a job where it only takes one person to sit out over that water for 8 hours and push a button. It's like people that work in those light towers out over the seas that make a lot of money. They send them out there, they give them 30 days worth of food, and they don't get to see society or anything until they come back in. Well, there are some jobs like that. They're rare, but there are some jobs like that. And those kind of jobs gives you the opportunity, if you want to learn a foreign language or something. And when I first saw Greg's shorthand, there was nothing in it that even looked like the English language. The way we write our English language, or French, or Spanish, Greg's shorthand is its own language in itself, but it's the fastest way in the world to write. And they first published the Dictionary of Shorthand in 1888. And for years, that's what our court reporters did, because they had to write down everything everybody was saying real fast. So it just came into me. I wanted to learn it. So that gave me 5 years, because I was separated. If I would have been on a job still welding, and everybody around me and running a grinder through the night, I wouldn't have had time to pick up a book and learn that. So sometimes God allows maybe us to slip or fall, because I was married to offshore work. I loved it. I loved welding offshore, and the salary was so great. But God worked that for my good. And by pulling me and giving me a job where I was to myself, I was separated, I was able to read and study. And that learning that shorthand helped me out for the next office job that I was going to get 5 years later, because I had to check in a lot of truckers from different parts of the United States and from Canada. And when they come in, you got to get the trailer number, you got to get the truck number, you got to get their name. There's just a lot to it. And there was just, the shorthand really came in handy. But I got to thinking, they don't teach it in schools anymore in the United States that I know of. So what I did, I sat in front of my computer years ago, and I formed my own channel of Moses on YouTube. And I taught a full course of Greg shorthand. So if any of you ever want, but getting back to being introverted, I've been that way all my life. But I seen early on, if you're a person and you want to be a medical doctor, you better be introverted, because you're going to have to separate yourself from the crowd. There's times in life when you want to learn something, you can't run with the boys anymore. You got to put the party and all that aside. You got to get real serious, because you've got to learn this stuff real good, and it puts you in a higher level to be able to make a higher wage and such in the workaday world. But anyway, so when I say I'm introverted, I've been that way ever since I was a kid. But I see how it can work for you good. And once again, when I was 18 and I found that scripture in the Bible that said, through desire, I think it might be Proverbs, the 20th chapter, verse 1, or it might be the 29th chapter, verse 1. I'd have to look it up. But it says, through desire. In other words, you get a desire in your heart that you want to pursue something. It says, a man having separated himself. See, it's not meant for every man to be married. Separate him, seeketh and intermeddleth with all wisdom and knowledge and understanding. You don't have time for that. I've tried the marriage life years ago. I've been single for 20 some years. And I knew once I tried that marriage life, I knew my whole life was going to change. They'd want to go out to eat in restaurants and all that. And so it was hard on me, because I was used to being by myself all my life pretty much. I've always been introverted. So when I say I'm introverted, I mean introverted, but it does help you in life. If you're an introverted person, don't feel like you're a freak of nature, because it's the introverted people of life that they call nerds and weirdos, that the big football players that are partying and drinking want to be the bully towards. It's those nerdish type of people that end up going to college and learning sciences and stuff that the common Joe will go through life not knowing. And that doesn't mean that he's any lesser than you or you're any better than him. It's just that everybody don't have the same calling in life. They just don't. Whether it's music, I played the clarinet for years in school, and I wanted to be like Pete Fountain, who's a famous clarinetist. I never dreamed I'd be playing guitar, but when I did get the guitar, boy, I liked it a whole lot, because I didn't have to breathe and my cheeks popped out blowing that horn. But I do enjoy clarinet music, especially the type they play in Louisiana and that. But I've always been that way. So when I say I'm introverted, so if you're an introverted person, don't feel like you're a freak of nature. It's not meant for all of us to be outgoing partiers and all that. And in fact, I just recently had people kind of break friendship with me over that type of issue. They wanted me to do something, and I was willing to do it to help them out. But I've had COVID before, and I don't know, I better not get into that, because it might offend that person if they're listening in. But just believe this: if you ever get COVID from somebody, you don't have nothing personal against the person that you caught it from. But if you heard that they had it 2 weeks ago or so, you're not going to want to be too quick to go in the same house or be in the same room where they've been, because you don't want to ever catch it again from them. COVID, it's really something. It's not anything that I'm so thankful God spared me and brought me through it. But yeah, I've always been introverted. I really have. I will go, and one of the worst things that you could tell me, and I'm getting ready to go back to music. One of the worst things that people have done me in my life that makes me cringe, As soon as they do this, I want to just run and get away from them. Is when they say, oh, look, I've got somebody I want you to meet. Boy, as soon as I hear those words, I had a neighbor that did me that one day, and boy, I was starting to hate him now because he just insisted. I lived across from him. He kept insisting that I go meet this guy. Well, he finally talked me into it, but I really didn't want to. And look, when I got to those people's house, the woman was cooking in the kitchen, the man's wife, and my friend said, look, I wanted him to meet you because he's getting ready to do something that's going to involve some paperwork. And because you've done this before, maybe you can give him some good advice. And I looked at that guy and I said, I'm going to tell you something. I really didn't want to come over here. I said, I really didn't want to meet you. And all of a sudden his wife was in the kitchen and heard those words. And she thought, oh my, who did so-and-so bring over here? Are we going to have trouble with this guy? Should I go get a gun? But after he gave me the advice that he gave me, he told me something that was really, and it was just a few sentences, but it was something that I was going to be faced with probably within a month or so. And it was something I had to go on a computer and do. And it was a good thing that I did do the visit that day because there was some knowledge that he was able to give me because he had already been there and done that. And I needed to really know and hear that. But at the time, because I'm so introverted, I didn't want to meet the guy. And I've always been that way. When somebody, if I go to visit a relative and they say, and I see that they got company, boy, if I see a car out there that's not theirs, I don't even want to go. I'll just turn the other way and go back because I'm just that way. I'm just that way. But there is a time and a place for that in life. And like I said, that Bible verse stuck with me. Through desire, a man having separated himself, it says, seeketh and intermeddleth with all wisdom and knowledge and understanding. Because if you're a partier, now when it comes to vocational training, that's being a plumber, that's being a welder, that's being a machinist and all that. Well, you got to be extroverted to a certain degree with that. You're going to be working with other people and it's going to be a team type work and all that. But any type of academic study, if you want to be a doctor or a pharmacist or anything that involves the sciences, you're going to have to be a person that is not really struck on wanting to go out and party and all that. You're going to have to just get off to yourself because there's certain things in life that if you're going to seek, you're going to have to be by yourself. You can't be around other people because other people will just be a distraction to you. It's not that you hate the people. It's not that you're not willing to do them good. If they just threw themselves in your face and asked you for a favor, it's not that. It's just everybody's got a different calling in life. We're not all meant to be guitar players or flute players or horn players. We're not all meant to be welders. We're not all meant to be doctors. We're not all meant to be pharmacists. But I have found in my life, there's some things in life you're going to be faced with. Oh, and for instance, that shorthand that I was blessed to learn, that 5 years that I had that job opening the bridge where I was out there by myself, I was blessed to teach that online. And I had people from all over the world contact me through emails and such. And one guy was from Canada, and he learned it really fast and even wrote me a letter in Greg's shorthand. But one of the people who learned it the fastest was a woman she's got life, but they never gave her parole because her boyfriend killed a state trooper. And she's a female prisoner that's been locked up longer than any other female prisoner in the state of Mississippi. And I sent her a copy to learn Greg's shorthand. I sent her the paperwork and I published a book on shorthand. And she learned it real quick. Well, one of the things that helped out in accelerating her to learn something academically like that, how many of you know if you're doing time and if you're in prison and you got your own private cell, the only time you're going to come in contact with other inmates, they'll give you the choice if you want to go in solitary confinement. Then they take the paper and pencils and stuff, I think, away from the inmates and stuff. But you see how just being an introverted person in some ways can really be a help to you. Let me plug this phone in or it's going to go out. Hold on. I got to plug my charger into it. So when I say I've been an introverted person, if you're an introverted person, don't like to be around the crowds and stuff, don't feel like the Lone Ranger, because you might have a calling in your life that's going to demand that you be off to yourself. And I'll give you one example. You know the Windows that you have on your computers? The guy who invented Windows, you know what he did? I saw a picture years ago of the little cabin that he built. In America, they build what's called storage units that you put your lawnmower and stuff like that in your backyard. He went up into the mountains and he got some lumber and he built him like an 8-foot by 10-foot little wooden shed. He parked his car on the outside and he stayed there for 6 months to write Windows. You see, if he wouldn't have separated himself from everybody, where he didn't have no distraction, and get away from everybody and build him a little makeshift cabin and bring him some food up there, we wouldn't have Windows. Well, God could have chose somebody else to do it. But the point I'm making is there's some things in life that you're going to, if you want to learn or pursue, you just going to have to get away from other people to do it. Because other people will hinder you. They'll slow you down. They'll get in your way. They'll be a stumbling block. They will discourage you verbally. And there's just some things in life. And like I said, the guy who invented Windows, I saw the very building that he built. It looked like a little wooden shed with just plywood on the outside. And he locked himself away. Same way with a piece of artwork. You might rent you one of those New York studios up at the top that's separated from the other apartments. A person that's a master painter, he might lock himself up 6 months or so, go buy enough food, because he wants to concentrate on doing that one piece of art that he knows is going to make him a multimillionaire. He might have been contracted to paint something they're going to give him $1 million or so, but he knows that to get this job done, he's just going to have to tell the world goodbye, call his friends, say don't call me, and make arrangements for somebody to get his mail and all that. There's certain things in life you've got to lock yourself away from everybody else if you want to pursue it, because if not, the more you get involved with other people, you're getting involved with a lot of hindrances or a lot of things that can hinder you from pursuing what you need to pursue. But like I said, the introverted life is not for everybody. It's just not. Just like those people that broke down out on the bridge, and I left them in the office, and they said, "Boy, I bet this runs you crazy." And I thought, "Oh no, this is heaven on earth for me." Let me get my extension cord and plug this in, or my phone's going to go out. Oh. You know, sometimes if my van's broken down and I have a relative come pick me up, I have found myself telling them, don't look at none of the neighbors. Don't look them face to face. And I'll tell them, I don't know any of these people personally. And if any of them get in trouble in any kind of way, I don't want them to think I had anything to do with it. So when I come and go, I try not to make face contact with them. That's how introverted I am. If you're living in a place where you think that people are doing things that they shouldn't do, it's wise just not to get involved with everybody, because if you don't know exactly what's going on, but you saw a few things and heard a few things, you think, hey, I better not even make eye contact, because if they get in trouble, I don't want them to think that, So, yeah, I'm very introverted. Okay, there's one song on here, if I can find it. It's called I've Been a Fool for the Feeling. Here it is. It's called I've Been a Fool for the Feeling. Boy, it is some kind of blues song. That's it.